Hi, welcome and good morning and back again. Welcome to What Have We Just Read with Nadia and Mike and the jingle. And it's great to be here. It's great to have Nadia in the chapel, which is always a blessing because we can, in fact, do What Have We Just Read. And in fact, what have we just read?
So we continue reading from the Genesis, the story of Joseph and his brothers. And Joseph still has not revealed himself.
It's like, when is it going to happen? It's like every day. I thought finally today it will happen today. But it's not. And it literally is like a Hollywood movie because actually this whole story is the brother Judah telling, kind of recapping everything. Yeah? He's telling Joseph what's happened.
Yeah, so
and it's like the story isn't moving on. It's like a sort of a repeat of. So this is where we are. This is what's happened, and he's telling Joseph everything.
Yeah, he's what he himself had said, reminding Joseph what he had said, and then saying what their father had said.
And it's amazing, and in incredible detail as well that they went into, which is fascinating. It's sort of quite particular about the kind of each little aspect of it. It almost gets quite confusing when you read it, but it is interesting how they kind of looks at each
relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Between all the brothers, and then here we have what does happen here is Judah pleading for Benjamin.
Yeah.
So he says, "Well, I'll stay with you, and please release Benjamin."
To come back. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly, because of what's going to happen. And I can't even remember when he reveals himself.
I think it should happen tomorrow.
That's what I thought yesterday. I thought it should happen today, but it didn't happen today. So it's like, when is he going to reveal himself? But it is amazing. And I have to wonder, it's like, this whole Joseph, is he right? Is he wrong not to tell him? Because he is kind of making him suffer an awful long time. He's making us suffer.
Yes.
It's like, when is he going to tell us?
But he clearly also goes through a lot inside himself, because I think several times we see him, he can't control himself, and he goes away to cry, and he collects himself and comes back. So there's this internal struggle.
Right, and I guess he's testing them in a way to see whether whether truly what their feeling is about having killed their brother. And because he's essentially talking to murderers, right? I mean the people that murdered him, right? I mean the kind of. And just some more, some less, but certainly all accomplices in the act that basically wasn't. Well, they were going to murder him, weren't they? Like one of them said, "Let's not murder him, let's sell him." So they were. He's talking with a murderous bunch of people. Which I think is really interesting. And he's trying to I think be really careful about, well, hang on, do I reveal myself to them?
And then maybe seeing how they feel about it all now. So hearing what their father, how he still can't get over his apparent death, and then all those brothers also how they now see it and how they regret. Right,
and how they seek to protect Benjamin, the youngest, because they realise it's the kind of the father's one of the father's favourite. There's the child of one of his later children from his older age, and that they're actually by Rachel. So they're very important. Who was the kind of his favourite wife. In fact, the wife he wants to marry first, I think. And then it's very complicated. Families are, aren't they? But and it's interesting. And now they're willing. They're saying, "We'll step in. We'll sacrifice ourselves for Benjamin because we don't want to see our father suffer like this."
It's interesting here how we see this positive side of Judah. Because before. So we saw the negative side of those brothers plotting against Joseph, and then but here we can see that he takes responsibility. So he pleads for him. He wants to give up himself so that the father wouldn't suffer. So that Benjamin is released. So it's interesting how we can see different sides of people.
It is actually fascinating, and it is. I'm trying to find hang on, diary on my hand. Then yesterday I was in a taxi. There we go. If any dream will do. I was in a taxi, funnily enough, going, and on the song on the radio they had a song playing from this musical. Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and actually they had the song that Joseph sings, "Any Dream Will Do," which is really beautiful, and it's just really lovely. And I'm going through this Sunday morning, driving through the centre of Moscow. It's very beautiful, and the taxi driver started singing it. After a while, I said, "Do you know this musical? Why are you singing this tune? Do you know?" "I've never heard it before. I just think it's nice," and it's got such a tune that it's actually very easy to pick it up, and it's very beautiful to start singing along to it. He had never heard it before, and I went, "Wow, that's amazing!" And it's Joseph's song, "Any Dream Will Do," which I think is one of, I don't remember which point in the thing he has that, but I think that's when he's locked up in prison. And it's a really beautiful song. It's kind of quiet and reflective, and the taxi driver started singing it. It was amazing. Yeah, it was actually beautiful. So anyway, Hebrews. I quite like the contrast between these very different, this of the Hollywood story, and now we get into this kind of very reflective and philosophical Hebrews. And it's very interesting. There was a comment earlier in the week in this book, which we use, Reflections for Daily Prayer, which says that Hebrews was something that was written with the Hebrews kind of in mind, which are kind of like the sort of older Jewish communities, right? And therefore, a lot of Hebrews goes right back to the beginning of the Bible and sees the Bible from beginning to end as one thing, and seeks to speak to quite traditional people about faith and about how Jesus is coming is a fulfillment of all the stuff that had already been said and written about in the Old Testament. So I never knew that about Hebrews. I know a lot of the epistles have been about, people, young Christian communities dealing with the problems of everyday life, of trying to start a new religion. Well, I mean, to them it didn't seem new, it just was all happening in the moment. And so it's quite interesting to see how these different epistles are working in different ways.
Yeah, true. So there's a different theme in each of them.
Yeah.
And here is this, recapping, explaining the role of Christ.
Right, exactly. It's really interesting, exactly.
Precise and very clear way, I think.
That Christ has come to share the kind of sort of flesh and blood with us, and then go through death so that he might destroy the power of death.
And through those earthly sufferings, he is raised up. So
right.
It's very interesting. And I also like this last sentence, because he himself was tested by what he suffered, he is able to help those who are being tested.
Yes. That's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, exactly, because we're all tested. He went all through the things, and he was in the wilderness, wasn't he, tested by the devil and stuff like that. So, interesting.
And I think it can also be applied in many daily life situations. So if you've been through something, obviously it may be a negative experience, but then you can use it, you can relate to how others feel, and it helps you be more empathic and help others.
And exactly, it says he came here as a descendant of Abraham, a person, and he hasn't come here to be like an angel or help angels, but to be kind of like one of us, so that he can, in every respect, so that he can actually understand what it is that we all struggle with. Anyway, great, good, enough? I think we've been wibbling on for 9 minutes, probably time to stop. So have a great and wonderful day. And
later today, there's this, in the evening, there's this Celtic prayer.
Oh yeah, come later on today, 7 o'clock or 7:30?
7 probably?
I think it's 7, So they have some nice, interesting evening services on Wednesdays, so come along. It's great. Okay, have a fabulous day, and see you all tomorrow morning. Bye.